everyone is loading in as quickly as possible. Coldflame's shown some really strong builds, but as I was saying, Methling just doesn't know timing, so he needs to over scout. Because right now there are no timings, so he needs to scout for every timing, which is basically after Warp Gate finishes. And he needs to find gas timings, and that's when you really have to be a thinking player to play Zerg, is when timings have yet been figured out. Because you really have to know how to think about timings and when things are going to hit and how strong they're going to be. A lot of people just know timings and know how much they need to produce in order to hold timings, because most timings are all in. But in Wings of Liberty, but we are seeing that with Coldflame's builds, especially last game. That build was 5-gate, not going to be an all-in, just going to be a heavy pressure, and he didn't even need sentries for it because he can always just leave. Anyways, in our top right position on Howling Peak, we have our blue Protoss player. He's up 2-0. His name is Coldflame. And in our bottom left, he's down 0-2. His name is Methling. Methling gonna need something. Gonna need something. He's gonna have to pull some bag of tricks out of his hat. DTs are emotional ones, as we do see more and more possible surprises coming out from Coldflame. I still love their mamas, though. I don't think Methling is exceedingly happy about how the last games have transpired, but we are seeing a gateway go down. Probe is being sent across the map to scout now. My favorite practice partner, apparently, Cameron Gesick is. Man, he doesn't like Coldflame. Always BM though, telling him that Cameron does not like him at all. Do you see a hatchery coming down? Saying he's a cool dude, just for me. Hate the game, hate the player, not the game. Apparently, is the way that Cameron takes this approach to StarCraft. And we do see gas coming down, so a little bit more similar to our first game, including pylon positioning. Kind of interesting. Coldflame having some quirks about himself. And he likes to gateway expand. He likes to put down that second pylon right there. Cybernetics core on its way. Probe scouting out the hatchery and pulling away. Now we see Overlord is now out, and we did see that drone scout once again. And once again, don't know if this is the optimal choice from Methling to be always drone scouting, but it does seem to be the safest choice versus Coldflame, as 15 hatch is always a possibility versus him, since he prefers to go for that gateway expand, and he does throw down the mana pylon at the third to prevent an early third from being taken later on. That will finish, and if Coldflame goes for a super quick cybernetic attack, warp gate attack off of the cyber core, he only has one guy in his second gas geyser, so there's a second. No, he's going to go place down another pylon. So Coldflame is going to get a little bit tricky here with his Mama core coming out soon, hopefully. We see it soon. I think we're going to see a quick DT tech. Like, I'm curious as to where he wants to go. Yep, there's the Mama core rallied across to the proxy pylon. It's also going to be used to doubly help protect against a quick third from the Zerg, but we might just see an even quicker game as the drones comes down and sees the pylon. Is just going to assume, oh, it's going to go for a super, he's just blocking my gateway, and instead we're seeing like 2 gateways and a Stargate coming out. So is this some kind of all-in as we see this? Like, either way, he can bring the army back with the mothership core. I'm a loss as to what the point of this build is, since the gateways are so late, and the Stargate, it seems like he wants to do a 3-gate Stargate, but at the same token, I don't fully understand where he's taken this build. And now with the discover of these units here, and if he sees the probe still there, he might assume that this is an all-in, as we do see a second proxy pylon coming out. We see an oracle coming out, so 4 queens, 6 links are on the way, and we're going to see another zealot stalker come out to kind of push back these queens, but the mothership core is still sneaking around, and it might just throw down a time warp on the ramp, which would be huge. Something that maybe the Zerg isn't expecting, and something that maybe Coldflame hasn't experimented with, but for 75 energy, and then you have to wait 25 seconds if timed right. Coldflame could get a lot done with that, as he does throw down a pylon behind. He got an Overlord, so now we're seeing the Zealots really kicking, and we see the Oracle come out. Here it comes with its Pulsar Beam, and it's going to be forced to pull back, but it dies, and these Zealots don't look like they're going to be able to get much done versus the Zerg player, but we are seeing more Zealots in a Sentry now, finally, for the first time in 3 games. This is the first Sentry that's I've been notably seen on battle. We are seeing now a common. The Queen is actually stuck, and it's the one with the most energy, and the Mothership core dies, so now we can't retreat. Speed is halfway done, so a few more warp ends. The timing of this is rapidly disappearing, for which Coldflame can get something done. He needs to have the Void Rays along with it if he really wanted to make this work. The best way actually probably would have been to fake the expansion and then go with it, but instead we are not seeing prismatic alignment come up on that Void Ray, and it looks like Coldflame's all-in build in game number 3 is going to be held off, which is Queens and Zerglings. Coldflame, not sure how he feels about this one. Why you have to learn on me? Even taught me. I'm actually going to now kill this pylon. Probably be best to use the Void Ray for that. But there is actually a hole here that things can get through. But yeah, the Zealots are going to need to hold that position pretty hard if they want to actually do anything. One warp gate is actually now gone. Why is he going to destroy this one? Again, 2 more sentries. This pylon will finally power that warp gate. But third is now up for Methling. 44 probes to 27 probes. So slight oversaturation, but I don't think that's going to really hurt him too terribly much. As we do see the Nexus finally going down. We see probes we need to mine. Yeah, so Methling holding on. Doing his thing. He knows how to defend versus people, but defend that build apparently now. He's finally learned. Drones now being sent over to saturate the 3rd base, but the question for Coldflame is how he transitions out of this. I'm actually surprised he's even going to attempt to, but Coldflame not one to say die, so as we see the Void Ray and the Zealots trying to work through cutting down the Zerglings, but Forge is finally up, and now the Zerglings are going to attempt to get us around here. Good force field though from Coldflame, and it doesn't look like Methling is going to be able to get much done here, as we do see more and more probes begin to transfer down to the natural of Coldflame. I'm curious if we're going to see a reusage of Coldflame's quote-unquote infamous DT usage. So maybe a Warp Prism DTs, or some kind of build that involves pressuring a lot with DTs, as we did see earlier that Methling was quite bothered by it and felt that Coldflame was very strong with it. But we do see a layer out. Spire is on the way, and I would love to see mutos right now. Potential 14 mutos could be produced at this moment. If he waits even 15, this could be huge cycle of mutos. Yeah, we see 14 mutos and +1 start and right away, and this is going to straight up kill Coldflame with no stalker support, no cannons in the natural, really, realistically speaking, the only thing that he has is one Stargate building Phoenixes, with one Phoenix flying out right now. Or actually a second Phoenix is already out, but it's taken a lot of damage. 15 meters though will easily shut that down if they so please. And then another, and then the mothership core, if we can find it real quickly. If we can find the mothership core and figure out, it does have enough energy for one photon overcharge on the Nexus, but either way, this is not easy for Coldflame to hold. He throws up Guardian Shield as best he can. He brings his Phoenixes out, and Methling was even on top of Photon Cannon range with that, but still, the unit count dwindled down to 12, but 5 at a time being produced by Methling, gas being taken, 4th gas is taken, 8th and 7th and 8th gas was taken, sorry. And we do see Lings out, Mutas out, Queens spreading creep, really enormous amount of creep tumors actually out for Methling. Unfortunately, HOTS does not allow you to see how many are out. And we do see Fleet Beacon and 2nd Stargate on the way in order to get that super fast, the super long range on the Phoenixes. But we do see that Mutas now have a range, still have a range of 3, but their weapon speed is a little bit faster than the Phoenixes. The Phoenix do, I believe it's a dual shot of worth of damage. And we see Banelings now coming out. Methling staying on top of his macro really strongly here, as he did earlier allow it to slip on purpose for those 15 mutas to be produced. And we now see Methling sending his mutas to the main of Coldflame. 2 photon cannons are down. Banelings and Zerglings are there, and Baneling's speed is about to finish, so Coldflame's gonna have to worry about this. And oh, the Phoenixes are now getting their Fleet Beacon, their +2 upgrade, which will take it to a 7 range, means that they should be easily able to kite versus these mutas. You see mutas now focusing in, actually finishing, preventing that +1 attack from finishing, and now destroying the Cybernetics core, so he can't even produce more Stalkers. And Methling is just focusing on any anti-air that the Protoss opponent might be able to have. What he really needs to kill right now is this Fleet Beacon. Instead, he's just focusing on the Stargate, and that, while initially will be good, if Coldflame can hold here, which he's trying as best he can by microing his Phoenixes, but now the wave of Banelings and Zerglings come crashing in, and now the door has been broken open, and now the Zerglings flood in, and Coldflame is going to be forced to call GG here, as there's nothing he can do with Zerglings in his natural, and